How's it growing, everybody? We're here back at Shanfield Shores, and to give you an update after one season, yeah, it's been one season. Everything's looking phenomenal here. Let's go. Some stuff worked, some stuff didn't, and a lot of weeds came back. As you can see, there's tons of nutsedge, tons of thistle, and a lot of not the best stuff, but otherwise, like you see, everything kind of, ooh, nice hand. Everything kind of worked out good. So the sedum here is not doing good. This is an area that accumulates a lot of water, but let's go. A little bit of milkweed here, the orange flower, a lot of aphids on it. It's going into seed here. The ornamental fountain grass looks nice, did good. White swan echinacea is looking really good. The achillea kind of burnt out. There's still some color left. Not many pollinators on that. We got a weed there. The big blue stem looks phenomenal. So I grew this from seed 3 years ago, and I've never seen it in its full beauty yet. But yeah, the seed heads are like a nice purple color. Let's get in on there. Look at that. Yeah, I love it. Really good. Takes up some room, and I don't know if the seed's viable. It must be, so I don't know how bad it spreads. But let's move on. I'll show you some other stuff that did work and that didn't work. The long-headed coneflower, Ratabita, looks good. Behind me, which is personally my favorite milkweed, is, if you see through all this nutsedge, but it's world milkweed. W-H-O-R-L-E-D. Slippy is, I forget. But look at how fine the leaves are, and it produces these tiny little white flowers that in my backyard, the wasps are on them all the time, the butterflies are on them all the time. A great little nectar source, and you get that nice light feathery texture. I got the seed pods are gonna pop off soon. I'm gonna be collecting more and germinating more this winter. Looks great. My favorite milkweed, and it's native. And that did really well here, actually, all things considered. And move on. We've got this golden aster. Oh, let's go to the little blue stem first. That's grown from native seed from Ojibwe as well. And this is slowly taking over as one of the most decorative ornamental grasses you can plant in your landscape. This is just a straight species type that grows natively here, but there are more cultivated types. Twilight and Standing Ovation you could find out, and they're like nice, they turn like a nice glaucous blue color in the late season, and like almost like a purpley color too, and they stay nice and upright and tight and short. We got to get rid of the Carl Forsters. We got to get rid of the Miscanthuses. Keep to the big blue stem, little blue stem, and the Panicum switchgrasses are great. They're all native ornamental grasses here. I'll take you over to the other side where we have some Northwind Panicum, which is my favorite variety. But yeah, here we go. Some more ornamental fountain grasses here. Pennisetum, a Silphium. I forget which variety of Silphium it is, but it's still looking kind of dangly. Really coarse, thick leaves. But in a couple seasons, I'm sure this will be massive. It has nice yellow flowers. So like I said, the golden aster was originally planted here, but that seeds proliferantly, so it's all over the place. But I'm not going to pull it because that's the whole point, to let it just naturally take over and become a native garden. All my Liatris spicata over here didn't do too hot, but it looks like somebody was spraying in here and it kind of blew, because that is all dead and it shouldn't be dead. Don't know. Then I got some just cedars because we wanted winter interest in the garden. I think they're native. They were native hydrangeas, or as native as you can get to a hydrangea, but they didn't do well at all. Hydrangea arborescens? Forget, I'm not sure. Move on down the line. Veronica Speedwell looks like it's done flowering, because usually these, look at, there's a, come on, there's a little spider on there. If you can see them right on the, yeah, right on. But yeah, these top to bottom filled with nectar. The bugs go crazy on that. But it's past this point. We got another type of aster here, which is yet to pop off, but you can see the flowers are getting ready to blossom and bloom. Some milkweed back here, covered in aphids. And then we move on to the showcase of what's really popping off right now, is this ornamental onion, allium, and I believe the cultivar is millennium. Look at this. Does it get better than that? Look at the size of this bee. I believe it's a carpenter bee, and then you got little honeybees, little smaller bumblebees all over the place. But look at everywhere, every flower top. And this is just a cluster of flowers. So like each one of these, let me get a good view here. There we go. Each one of these little spots, you can see the stigmas and the pistils, is an individual flower. So there's like, think about it, on that cluster, there's got to be like 50 little flowers. And then each plant has 20 clusters. And then you plant a bunch of plants, and it's just an absolute nectar paradise. The bees are just going wild on here. Every little top has a bee kicking around. So beautiful, so amazing. And then these giant rudbeckia here, not Rudbeckia maxima. Again, I don't know the species, but it's almost, this is like 6 feet tall if you look at me. Yeah. So these get up to 6 feet tall, but in a big center of a garden bed, if I back up, they do super well, super nice. We got our oak tree here, pin oak, and there goes my tree ID, don't know. More sedum here, which they're about to pop off. These little flower clusters, just like the allium, a ton of different little flowers on top. And once these fully open, these will just be covered in bees, covered in little wasps, covered in pollinators. They go crazy for these. A little baptisia over here. This will get massive, but it's going to take a few seasons, and it's a spring bloomer, so don't expect to see anything in the late season. But the texture of the foliage and then the seed pods are really ornamental as well. They're fun to look at. They break open. You can shake them like a maraca. Come back here. Things didn't really work out too well in this back area. I planted some prairie clover, and you can see it down here, but the students come and pull weeds, and they probably pull this thinking it's a weed, but it's actually supposed to be here. Let me focus up. Yeah, more of the milkweed, some echinacea back here, milkweed, and here is that cup plant, the silphium that I showed you over, different species of it. But look at this, boo, that's unreal. Big yellow flowers. The bees go wild on these as well, and they call it a cup plant because look at that. It's doing what's it. I don't know when the last time it rained was, but there's still water in here. So tadpoles will like, tadpoles, I don't know how a tadpole will get up in here. But thick stem, not gonna bend over, not gonna snap on you. And these are kind of short. These will get up to over 8 feet tall. The ones in my backyard are even higher. But this will turn into a giant cluster, and big pollinator friendly, but the seeds are viable too. So you gotta watch where you plant some of this stuff because it will spread. I believe this is supposed to be here. Don't quote me on what it is, but I definitely put it here because there's a bunch of it. Some more ornamental stuff. And this is the Panicum Northwind, so switchgrass. So out of all the switchgrasses, it grows the highest, and it's got thick blades. Nice and thick blades, if you see that. And it stays nice and upright. It's not a mound type grass, so it'll stay nice and slender. I might have planted them a little too tight here because in a year or two, they're just going to be one giant patch of grass, and you're not going to be able to see that space in between, so they might have to be divided. There's other stuff I planted back here. I forget what it was. But then we get to the Liatris alley. Like, oh, this is my favorite native plant, Liatris. And we got spicata, we got mucronata, we got pyrospicostantia, we got, I forget, there's like 7 different species of it. One of them is meadow blazing star, and it's the #1 plant to attract monarch butterflies. If you've got that, better than the butterfly bush. And honestly, then milkweed, just for a nectar source. So if you plant meadow blazing star, you're sure as heck to be able to attract every bug. Like there's just bees covered all over this. And then we got, where am I going right here? Ooh, this way. These ones haven't even popped off yet. I'll get a closer look. But look at the size of that. That's just gonna be, okay, come on. Boom. That's gonna be huge. And then you got just hundreds up and down. These ones are already popping off. Different species. They all kind of flower at different times. These ones are spent. I believe the tighter, smaller flower is Pygostantia's Prairie Blazing Star. And then there's Meadow Blazing Star. And then there's another one, like one of these two is Meadow. I believe it might be this one, but who knows. I forget. I just grew them and planted them. Didn't keep them labeled or anything, but these bees are all over the place in here. And I did see a monarch when I showed up, but it has since gone. Yeah, more sedum here, more little blue stem, a lot of Rudbeckia, black-eyed Susans here. These are just phenomenal. Look at the color on that. More Radibita, long-headed coneflower. So you got Echinacea, which is the purple coneflower, but that's the white swan cultivar. You got long-headed coneflower, which is Radibita, which is a different species or a different genus, and then you got black-eyed Susan, which is Rudbeckia, which is like yellow coneflower. So they're all coneflowers, but they're all different genuses: Echinacea, Radibita, Rudbeckia. Beautiful. This one last Liatris, dwarf Liatris back here. Like, this is a showstopper. Form fit, doesn't get too tall, cute little flowers on the top, and they're separated, so you not get that classic Liatris spicata giant like duster look. They're all separated and spaced out on their own little stems. But then you get that cluster of flowers, which again, this isn't just one flower. That's like 30 individual flowers all grouped together on one head. So just a massive nectar source. And look at how short it is. Beautiful, nice and short. But that's the garden. Everything kind of worked out well. As far as the invasive weeds, we do our best to pull them. We don't use spray in here. I mean, I personally don't. Who knows? Someone else can come in here and do what they want if they get asked to do it, but I don't control that. I just try to stay as natural as possible. But after one season, this is kind of what I wanted it to be. And yeah. And 12 minutes. Enjoy. Maybe I'll put this up on YouTube. I'm going to post it on that Monarch group. And I'm in the new Essex County native group as well. I'm Zach, work for the city horticulture. I own Lawn and Order, property maintenance, and we do everything from native landscaping. I try to promote as much native plants as possible in the landscape and support biodiversity. And this is like my little baby here. The one thing I got to work on and kind of do all myself with seed I grew that I sourced from Ojibwe and from other tallgrass prairie seed distributors. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you like the update. This is at Shanfield Shores in Windsor's East End, right next to the old Lily Gazilli's Windsor Marina. It's now called Harbor House. Come out and have a little gander. You might see a couple butterflies, all different species. I'd like to keep adding too, because I'd like some swallowtail out here. There's a few other things I'm gonna grow. Keep adding, keep going, shake and bake. How's it growing? Take it easy. Love you, bye.